I'm Grant. This is part 2 of the drawing of Matthew McConaughey. I posted part 1 and the theory behind in separate posts, so this is really a 3-video post. So in the first part, we started with the Loomis method. We adjusted for Matthew McConaughey's dimensions. We made an outline of the face, and then we drew the parts in, this outline of the parts, and this is where we are now. The reference photo is from artofheadshots.com, and I've also included a link to it down in the description, as well as the work from part 1, the Blockin, as a download, so you can start from there if you want. Portrait or portrait victim. So what is this all about? Well, this is a game I play. If the portrait works out and looks like the person, then it's a portrait. If the portrait doesn't look like the person and it didn't work out, then you've created a portrait victim. I've created a lot of portrait victims before I made a portrait. So let's see how you do at the end of this part 2. Here are some lists of supplies that you need. Now, you just might sit there and never do my portrait. That would be a shame. Now get your pencil out and let's begin. Will you make a portrait, or will I become your portrait victim? In part 1, we made a grid, a silhouette, and a Blockin. Now it's on to part 2, details and shading, and this is what it looks like. For the shading, we're going to use a 5-value system, which means that we have 5 different darknesses from the lightest to the darkest. We're going to use the squint method to find out where our dark and darkest is, and then we're going to shade them as with the 4, and then we're going to find the light and shade that, and midtones, and then the darkest, and then the lightest. So this is the start of the shading process. This is my favorite stage. So the first thing I do is I put a value key on here. 5 values, 5, 4, and this is the darks. This is the lights. And I'm going to fill these in the right. So the white, the highest, the lightest, I'm just going to leave white because I'm working with white paper. If you're working with some gray paper, you might even have a white pencil to fill in the highlights. So I'm just going to shade this in. That's a bit darker. Okay. Then this is an HB, which is sort of a mid dark. It's right in the center. This one is a 2H. So this is a really light one. And this is a 2mm pencil. And this is a 2B. Now the trick with the shading is you don't have to press hard to make things dark. You just have to do with layers. So you can see that this is my 2B. You can see that the lead is quite a bit darker than even the HB. And that's going to be my 4, and then my 5 is going to be really dark. The first step is to separate your lights from your darks, make it a 2-value system. So all the lights are going to be one color, and all the darks are going to be a dark color, and that color has to be, or value they call it. It's not really color because this is black, but that value needs to be unique enough. So I'm going to use so what you do is you squint your eyes just so there's little openings, and you can just make out the shapes of the dark. So you can see that this is a dark. I'm squinting my eyes right now. You don't see me, but I'm squinting my eyes. So it's put some junk on there. First one, I'm just gonna make it a color, the darkness of it. So it's about like this. Okay, it's not dark right now, but I'm just going to do it in layers. The paper has a different feel than my other paper. Not blending. Okay, I'm squinting still. There's a dark patch here. And it comes like this, and it comes down, and all the side of his face is dark right there. So this is all dark. So I'm just going to shade that in. Okay. I'll make it darker. The light is coming from. You can see here that the light is coming from this direction because there's a shadow under in his side of his nose, and so it sort of goes like that. I guess I should have blocked that in. Okay. And go across as this, and then it goes like this. There's a big shadow here. I'm not just like right now that in the darks there's 2 colors, but I'm only going to make it in a 4 color right now, all of the 4. So I'm just going to make a 2 color system. Okay, squinting. See, when I squint, this eyelid it's not dark. It goes about here. Yeah, I'm squinting, and there's a kind of a shape. It looks like an arrowhead. This is the thing. They're not body parts right now. They're just shapes right now. They're just shapes. We did the Blockin. We can just like this and like that. But then tip of his nose. It's not when I squint. There's a bit of area here that pops out. This right here. Okay. Okay. So there. Anything else? So there's a spot like that up here. You can see it always. It's already starting to look better. Oh yeah, there's a shade under his shadow under his. Some of it's beard, but some of it's shadow of his beard. And it's like that, all up to the top there. And it's about this big. Okay. I'm just making it this color, but I'm going to fill it in. I don't have to record that though. And then it's like this. Yeah, there's one right here that kind of like, I'm squinting. I see this shape that's appearing. Yeah. You see, I erased all the markings. I have some hidden marks that to help with the template. I printed some on here, so some of them just need to be. So this is all dark down here. I'm not going to worry about this right now. I can do that later after. If I start putting too much dark around here, I'm just going to smudge everything. That's where the maul stick comes in handy. Where did I put that thing? Oh, I don't need it right now anyway. Put the maul stick kind of like this is the maul stick. You hold it, and so your hand is above the paper. Where's that thing? There it is. This is a big knitting needle. But you see some people, when they're artists, they have them hanging from their easel. And okay, I think I will continue this, squinting, looking for places where really you're looking for separation between the 4 and the 3 value. And yeah, okay, and we're going to make those darker. So I finished putting my value 4 in. If you don't have a darker pencil like I have, is that you just put more layers on it. So it's just like, and this image is not high enough. My printer didn't do a good enough job to, you can't really see what's dark and what's sort of dark. So I opened up the image on my computer, and now I can blow it up and stuff. So anyways, it looks so much better just like that. So I'll show you a trick what I do to get my, now we're going to put the lights in, the 2 and the 3. So I'm going to fill it in with 2, the value 2. Now what I do is I take a piece of paper towel, and then I scribble some lead on a scrap piece of paper. So then I can pick it up with I use my finger because I do like this, put my finger in there. And then I'm going to fill in the 2s, the starting point anyway. I'm not going to worry about differential between the 2s and 3s. I'm just putting a layer of, there's that 1, so I'll move that, like that's going to be a highlight right there, so I don't have to do that. Okay, and then I'm just going to do this whole nose. You can still see what's going on, but it gives it a layer. Don't worry about so much. And here I put those in, and put that in. I'll erase out his eyeball there. The white of his eye, cornea, I guess. Yeah, picked up some of the darker there. It's just easier to do this way. Oh, see, it's starting to look better already. Oh, I forgot a dark area. Yeah, if I squint, I can see this dark area right here. This is for the filtrum. Yeah, and just one side, then it changes into a 3 on the other side. So let's put that there like that. Okay, there's chin. Okay. Now I take I can use my HB. So as I said, if you have only one pencil, an HB is good, and you just put more layers on it. That's all. So I'm going to go with my HB, and I'm going to put some value 3s in there, and make sure that it doesn't go as dark as any of my darks. Squinting again. I can see this is a 3 here. I'm using the blend technique with a paper towel, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, as I said, there's nothing on the human body that's straight. So when you're doing the shading, when it matters, you do like little circular motions there, so it doesn't pick up the line. But this is all going to be blended in anyway. So that's getting pretty close to my 4. So I don't want to get any darker than that. So let's see if I can blend it. Yeah, it looks okay. Okay, then there's a 3, just between the 3 and the 4 there, there's a intermediate value. So do this again. So this is an HB. And there's one that's like this. And his mustache is there. So let's put his mustache in. Like that, and then this is just like that. This circle. And this is this mustache. put in some base for his mustache. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to do that. Do hair. I don't do this. I'm not going to do his hair because it's going to be messy. You can see that I'm. I see some people put a piece of paper down. I don't worry about it because I know I'm going to do the shade in there, but I'm cognitive of moving my hand across my work here. So this is all three here. This is darker than the twos, and you can see that I just bring it in, and then this is like that, and then I'm going to continue like that, and I'll show you the results in a few minutes. Okay, so I put some threes in the my drawing with some twos. And I'm just going to blend it with a paper towel. Sometimes I use my blender like this, but since I'm trying to use similar stuff that you might have, so I'm just going to use my finger and a paper towel. I'm just going to blend this in. Yep. Sort of like that. This guy's more like... I'm pressing down a little bit more harder on my finger, so just to get it more darker there. I'm going to have to fix that later. Okay, just the edge between the threes and the four. That's still got this going. As I said, this is just a. Okay, this is just a, like almost a two, but it's a three. There you go. I'll blend it in here. Okay, and this is his base underneath his hair stubble. Right there, like that. And this, I'm going to fix this mustache. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. Okay, and then I take my HB, or if you have a pencil, just put another layer on places, just for some more contrast. Texture. Okay, I'm just using my computer here. I'm just doing this forehead, and I really need to see the... No, you can just feel like I can just feel it. I don't have, it's more, you're a little bit more free with the pencil. That's a really hard line. It's a straight line. So you can see this is a light pencil, but I'm just putting lots of different layers on it. Yeah, I can feel that. There's a bright area here. It's not straight, so. And it's not completely, although this, the edges, they say not to use your finger, but sometimes I use my finger to blend it. Sometimes you do it with oil on your fingers and it gets in the paper. But I clean my hands, so wash my hands before I started this. I can see that I forgot to do the corner of this four here. So where's my dark pencil? So I put some paint on it just to tell the difference. I like these 2mm pencils. I don't have to sharpen them. Okay. What's going on over here? There's some more over there. Just working it. Okay, I'll continue doing this, just filling in some of my threes better with the pencil after I smudged it all with the paper towel. You can see it's progressing. I put some more threes in there, and the threes are not any darker than my fours. Checking my key. So there is some lights that I had. I usually adjust the lights very at the end, but I'll just put them in just to show you what they look like. This is my kneaded eraser. It just picks up some of the graphite on there. Okay, and put some lights down here. Like that. Just looking at the shape. Suits up like that, and I think there's one over here. The light's coming from this side, so there's not too many highlights right here over here. So you know, if those are all twos. Yeah, the nose. Show you like that, and it goes around the horn, on the tip of the nose. Just has a circular motion there, and a highlighter on there. Trying to make it so my kneaded eraser is the same. You can use a eraser, just a normal eraser too. Then you just have to be careful to eliminate the shavings. I'm just going to dab this like this. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave that for a while, and I'm going to then do the hair, and I'm going to work on the individual parts on the nose and the mouth in the next block. I just took a break, and now I have some fresh eyes to do the next stage of this drawing. So what do we have left? We have the eyes. I always like to do the eyes last because that gives a character. And it's kind of distracting if I put the eyes in because I always want to fix something. So I always save those last. So we're going to do the mouth, then some of the hair, and then we're going to do some of the eyes, and then we're going to finish the hair, and then we're going to finish the eyes. And then we're going to look for places where we have to adjust. So we'll do the mouth. So the mouth, you can see it's in two parts. The upper part, the light is coming from this direction, so the upper lip doesn't get much light. So I'm going to put them in. I use circular motions for the center, but you can really see that the lips are kind of have this verticalness to them. That's wrong. So I use vertical strokes in that one. Now, the bottom lip has a brighter side and a darker side because it's curving to the light and curving away from the light. So I'm going to divide this in two here. I'm going to use vertical strokes there. A little darker here. I still think his lips are too high, or too, take them down a bit. That looks like more like it. So it's higher. Center part right here. So this is where the filtrum comes down, and the bottom lip usually has a separation there like that. How's that look? Looks pretty good. So next I'm going to do the hair. I'll probably come back to this, but this is a brighter section here. Just going to look for mistakes and places to fix here. So this comes a little bit wider at the bottom here. It's a little bit wider at the top and it goes all the way up to his nose. I don't know. You tend to work in little places when you see errors, you go back and forth. So, okay. So, if you look at the hair, to get depth, you need to have a little bit of dark here. There's a sort of a brighter area here, and these are dark. This is a little bit lighter in his hair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stroke in some dark spots in here. Now this is the underlane, so we're going to put some hair over the top of it. So, but this gives it some depth when you actually look at it here. I'm just so you put these in here to give it some depth. So I'm using a dark H2B pencil right now. And what you do is you can't do the dark. If you just have one pencil, just do multiple layers. If you press too hard on the paper, then it'll damage the paper, and then you won't get a good. And then it'll have a kind of a sheen to it, or because it's a depression, then when you take a picture of it, it doesn't look right. So I'm going to put a couple of these in. This is where my hidden marks are. I'm going to hide them. Okay, and this is all dark here. And like when you do hair, you like to do in the direction of the hair, but these are just the under, give it depth. So let's go like this. This is ear. I haven't done his ear yet. Okay, we'll have to do his ear. There's a section like there. I'm going to do a section there, and then it comes out like this. And this one is kind of like just a swoopy. Yes, kind of like that. It goes the direction of that. I'm not doing individual hair right now. I'm just sort of sectioning off the sections of the breaking this hair into sections so we can look at. So this is all flat up here. Kind of like goes like this a little bit. And then it's his ears right here. So, and then so there's a section that kind of goes like this. And there's a section that goes on the top. So let's divide this up into some dark areas. And I'm going to use my mall stick because I'm going to use this. I don't want to put my hand over the drawing to smudge it, so I'm just going to use this for now. It's usually in a book. There's something underneath. Yeah, it goes down a bit. Okay, so now I'm going to put some strokes in for the. It's a dark texture underneath there. Yeah. Just some directions to this. going to go in fast mode here. So I'm going to speed up because it's going to take a while, but I'll just show you still what I'm doing here. So yeah, you can see I'm smudging on the side. So let's see if I can. Yeah, this section I didn't go in the direction of the hair, so I have to cover that up. Okay, I'm going to work on that. I'll come back. I'm just make the edge out of his hair from his skin a little bit darker. You can overemphasize this. Emphasize this a bit. And he has a clump of hair that kind of goes like this. This is when now I'm following the direction of his hair. Then it goes just like this, and then it whips up. Since I have some light and dark pieces there, it gives some depth. It still goes like this. Then you have some ones that go straight up, clumps of hair. You can have more of a feel about the hair. You just stand up and look at it from a distance, and then you can see clumps. But this gives us a neat effect because now it's different values and brightness. Be careful what I'm doing here on the edge. Notice I go in the direction of where the hair is going from the root to the tip instead of the other way around. It won't look as great. Yeah. That. Pretty. It's dark in there. Action on that. But it'll look okay. Darker here. So I'm just continuing on the hair. I took the paper and looked at it from a distance. This area in here looks too light still. The light is coming from this area, so over here you're going to get a lot of dark areas. The light is going to hit here and here, but not so much here. So I made this a little bit, this side here, and a little closer to the roots, it'll be darker. And then it goes light, and then it goes a little bit dark again. So there's a section here that's a band of light. This looks better. It looks better from a distance. So that's what you find with hair. You get the general area. Now, I don't want to grow this anymore, but it looks like it's more fluffy on this side than that side. So I'm just going to make this darker. And then I think the wrong direction. I started in the wrong direction, so that's hard to see. And this area here looks too straight, so I'm just going to make some random lines. If I go like this, it'll just look too uniform. So I'm just going to put some random strokes in there at different intervals. Well, this section I put into goes more of a point. There we go. Put it back in there. Sorry, it was too light. Darker. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that for a while. Yeah, this is his hair. His ear on this side, you can hardly see it. I think I've put it on my computer and I blow it up on it like you only see the tip of it right here. So, pretty dark. Yeah, I can hardly see it. Somewhere there. I see here and here. There's, let's see. Yeah, it goes down. down the area of his neck. Once I got my change this area of his neck because it's not big enough. It's sort of broken into thirds, isn't it? Well, this is third. So lighter area there. Light is coming from this direction. So this is going to be a little bit darker. You can see this atom map right there. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, that looks very good. Okay, yeah. Get a little bit of his eye now. So the light is coming from this area, so underneath in his eye right here, you're going to have a shadow. So I'm just going to put his... And the light's coming from here, so his bottom eyelid is going to be lightened. So it's just slightly lightened, so I'm just going to put that in there like that. Just, corner of his eye. Now, if I look at his eye and just look at the white, this is called negative space. So the pattern or the shape of his eye goes like this, but then it's quite narrow this side, so I'm going to shorten it a little bit. So I'm looking just at his eye here. You can see that it goes down a little bit more steeper. Okay, then I'm going to make his pupil in the center, make this one about the same size. You always want to make the pupil a little bit, don't make it too small, make it bigger or the same size. So I'm going to mark where my highlight's going to be. You see this in the highlights. Your eye reflects back some light, so this portion here is going to be white, and that's not centered. You see, they have to line up. Yeah, see this? That is a little bit more. Here, and that's, see, that's the same height. Yeah, okay, close enough. So this section here, I'm going to make a highlight. So I'm just going to section this off so I don't shade that in. And this one is about that. There's one little small one up there. Okay. Now, you have a limbic ring around your eye, so it's usually a little darker, as his eyes are darker around the outside, and then they get lighter, and then they dark again for the pupil. Put that in there. Now, at the very end step of when we're going to do this, we're going to make these dark again. So this dark, I'm going to redo them at the very end. The slight, some more goes up on the edge at the end. Okay. So don't. Rest my hand on that roller here. Move this edge out again. Okay, this is a little more. Looking at the negative space, and the white of his eye is it's a little bit more, goes down to more of an angle. Oh, that's pretty good. Probably made his eyes a little bit too big, but I got them about the same size. Let's see. Yeah, about the same size. I think it doesn't go so high. Going to darken where his eye socket comes down the brow, the edge of that. I'm just going to darken a bit. You don't have to exactly make it look like a picture. I'm just going to make that a little bit darker, bring it out more. Okay, I'm going to take a break. So I just took a look at it from a distance, and there's a few things I did wrong. I made the chin too long again. So if I measure and convert it, this is probably around out there. Yeah, so I'll have to watch that. I did exactly the same thing last time too. So sometimes mistakes like that could creep in, and you just have to just watch it. So that looks a lot better. I mean, I'll make it straight now. Chin's like that. Let's see if that looks better. Okay, more like that. Shadow underneath here anyway. And let me see. The other thing I did wrong, or this comes in like that. It's more straight there. Makes a big difference as well. There's a shadow underneath his hair too. The light's coming from this direction, so there's a shadow here. This is my 2H pencil, so I just put multiple layers on there. Okay, let's see if I can. Here's my HB pencil. That's 0.7. These pencils I'm using, like this one and this one, I just got these at a dollar store in the Walmart. I really like the mechanical pencils. I have more expensive ones, but I tend not to use them. These ones are light. I like the feel of them. Maybe I just haven't. This is kind of a shadow here. The other thing here, I'll have the shadow wrong. The light's coming from this direction, so the shadow wouldn't come like this. Would come away from the same direction as the light source. So put that in there. And this is too light. Makes a big difference. And this is too. When I look at it, this is too, goes down too much of a slope, so it's more straight, flatter there. Okay, and then that's the shade. Okay, so how's that looking now? Now his ears are way too wide, so I'm going to change them. So when you use your eye, I mean, we used the template before that, and get some approximate placing, but your eye sees things that you don't see. You don't see whether when you have a ruler in your hand or relying too much on devices. The ruler gets you some places, like you can see, oh, that's too thick, but you kind of look at it and go, oh, let's do it's better. His ears, this is the helix. There's the concha in here. What I'll do is I'll lighten that up. So we haven't done the highlights yet. Like after we do the shading of 2s and 3s, but then we look for areas where it needs adjustment, and then you look for your edges and make them softer. Like this is too hard of an edge. It goes from dark to light too abruptly. So I'm just gonna put some midtones in there just to make it, and it's gonna make it a little less symmetrical. There we go. Put that in like that. Blend it in. See that? Yeah, that looks a little better already. Now I'm not sure whether or not I probably won't do all the creases in his. On his forehead, I'll just pick and choose just for the main ones. Here, this is darker here. So these fine adjustments here, like when you adjust, it makes a huge difference to how he looks. Like I was looking, going, okay, that doesn't really look like him. I want to make sure that his chin sort of turns basically where his nostril hits. Yeah, that's about right. Still too high. Yeah, that's better. And there's a straight piece, and okay. Another I was working on this. And this comes in too much. I'm going to adjust this back a bit. that. And see this area. This is a little bit too dark, but I like that. Sometimes I like that right now. It gives some contrast going around his forehead. This area here it's going to be lighter and then it gets darker. So when you know how it gets dark here, then light, it really shouldn't do that. Not if you obey the laws of physics. The light gets as light. This is actually turning away, so there's not a plane coming in at you, and it's weaker as it leaves me in the source. So I'm going to strengthen this up. Make sure I'm putting my hand on it. So there you go. Is that better? Where's my... There. Okay, that looks a lot better. Two more changes. I'm going to put that back on my easel and take a look from a distance and see if there's anything else wrong. So now I'm going to put his stubble to his beard. Oh, I'm going to fix his nose too. This is going to fix his nose. It goes up like this and goes down. Kind of a hint not to make the nostrils very dark. It's not an area. I try not to make them as dark as even as I see them. So I'm going to take that away. There we go. Just going to go like this. It goes about 45 degrees off angle, then it comes back. Do a faint outline of his nose. There, okay. Now, to make a stubble, I'm going to use a few widths of a pencil. I used to use my 0.5, and I just randomly put them in. You don't want to do them at a very increment. You don't want to make them all the same. What I'm trying to say. So that's just, here it comes down. Okay, his hair underneath his lip. That's about a third. That's about half. Okay, that's a half and then a quarter. So I break this in half. That's a quarter, and then I break that in half. That's a quarter. So it's going to go up to there and down to there. So there's a clump here, kind of like that, and that. Kind of goes to a point, and then kind of coughs like that. You could just make a suggestion. You don't have to put every hair in it. Your brain will fill in all the details. It's amazing what the brain can do. Fills in these details. You don't need to put everything in. Okay. Now I just noticed his lip. Put this. It's a white area for his lip, but his lips, they kind of turn up a bit. It's going to make them a little bit happier. And then there's each of the area there, end of your mouth. There's got a hole. A depression there. So it's also kind of darker here. So light's coming from this way, so this area doesn't get very much light. So it's going to come up to here. There's a clump where it has dimple in his nose. His chin. This is light. I'm going to put some darker ones in later. Just like, it goes like this. It goes up like that. And this area is not. It's kind of his stubble in his hair like that. So this line is not completely straight. This paper is losing the ability to absorb the graphite because it's so smooth. The paper is so smooth that once you put a layer of graphite on, it's hard to add to it. So this is kind of my light one. So kind of goes up like that, wider at the base. Make it darker tone. Now it's pressing a little bit darker now. It's not completely white, but it's whiter. There's a darker clump right here. Make it a little bit longer, whiskers now. I don't want to put too many in. Sometimes I like to use my razor and put some white spots in to brighten it up. I need some more down to the chin. This area here is. I go back to the white spots and then this makes them look like highlights. Right there. This needs to be blended more, I think. This is too light. Some more of a shade here. Okay. Fix this eye. It's still a little too high for me. I'm going to take it down just a bit. That's better. Just slightly. You can see how that. Now, under the eye, there's a shadow right under the eyelid. And so it makes a shadow onto the eye. It's a light shadow. And it also makes it so the eyes don't look so big either. This is very, check my reference here. Yeah. There's a hint of his eye. Kind of goes like. This is too bright. There we go. Just go at the wrong angle. Yeah, just too much. Eyebrows. Oh, wait, my arm is going off. I'll work on the eyebrows and I'll come back. Just looked at it from a distance. This area looks good. It looks like it will work. There's more of a shadow here. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. It kind of goes around the chin. The bone for the chin sticks out a bit like in a round. So there's some, so it has a curve to the shadow. And this area is too bright too. I need to slightly putting a layer of graphite down. The bottom lip has changes planes there, and it goes down into the face so the light doesn't hit it, so it's going to be darker there. And it goes over and then back down, so there's a valley here that needs to be. Okay, and this looks okay. You don't want a suggestion of light. Let's put the eyelashes in. I think it looks like it's ready. He doesn't have big eyelashes. I'm just going to check my reference here. And just usually make a swoop like this. Okay? And on the other side, just like that. I'm just going to make small ones because his eyelashes are either directly pointing at us or he doesn't have high eyelashes. So, it's about halfway. That's about it. So I'm not going to put very many in. And that's bottom eyelashes connect to that ridge. As I said, I'm not going to put too many in. Look at it, it looks like a little clump right here. That's enough for suggestion. The other side, I think his eyelashes are facing us, so you can't see them in the picture. Goes down the pad. Darker. The upper eyelid goes over top of the bottom eyelid. Sometimes you double up on the bottom, like it's a bottle, you do two like that, do that, like that. But his eyelashes are not really that prominent, so I'm not going to emphasize that. There's a shadow under there, shadow here. And there's more of a shadow. It's darker, it's closer to the brow. Same as here. There's a darker area here. Okay. My hand down, this is a dark. It's kind of a bright area here. It must be getting the light somehow. So that just not that light, but it's going to put in there. This side. Yeah. This one's quite a bit fatter than this one. It's bigger. So it goes like that. Goes a little bit past. It was about almost halfway. And this one, that's this thickness should be up there. This one seems like it's flatter. It's not thinner though. I'm going to estimate that. That's about right. And it goes down more, closer to his eye. Yeah, this is pretty close to his eye. So that's pretty good. Leave it like that. I think we've captured his character, so I don't want to make it distracting. He's a bit bigger. And which way? I'm going to make it closer to his eye. Here, it's too groomed, so I'm going to tone it down a bit. Okay, I made his shadow under here a little bit darker. I cleaned up this a bit. I added some darkness of his jacket. Now, the only thing that's sort of tricky there is that it has two lines down there because it's layered. And this is not so important because this is not really distorted. It's trying to be distracting. You want the viewers to see his face, but there is some of these lines. Let's see that. Notice I go in one direction. Go in one direction for the pattern. I don't go this way. I go in the same direction. Just adds some texture to his clothing there. What's that? Okay. I darkened this a bit. I looked at it. Sometimes you just have to look at it from a distance and say, okay. So this is edge work. Now, what I mean by edge work, you see how it goes light then dark all of a sudden? Well, that would suggest that he probably had a hard corner on his face, which is not the case. So this has to be a little bit more smoother transition, which means it has to have a little bit of a lighter area here, darker area, a little bit of light. So let's see that. See that works. Maybe it's too much. Shouldn't use my finger, I guess. I'm going to take that back again. But, good. No, it's a smoother transition. Down here, it's not so much. It's brighter, but it doesn't all of a sudden become bright. That's probably a little bit too dark. Let me see if I can take it back. This is just balancing act. Do you have to? Let me see. There's more bright. Not too bright. Okay. So put some other edges here. Let's put some of these lines in first. There's one here. I'm just going to suggest it because this is, your brain will fill that in. I don't need it them all in. Let me see. It doesn't have to be a continual line. Let's do that anyway. Let me see. There's one. This one up here. Darker. Okay, it's adjusted there. Okay, now I'm looking for anywhere areas that I want to darken the lines. This is sort of the final passes here. Definitely his iris needs to be blackened. So the printer paper doesn't allow too much graphite on the page, so. But I figured that probably been better to print it off on a page or get a book on a little higher grade paper. You could still see through and get the template, but this is new for me. I'm just going to make this darker here to really make them up. So your eye picks up contrast, like the really brights and the really darks. If it's right beside it, it'll bring your eye to that. So this area here needs to be blended a bit more. It doesn't just all of a sudden become white. So I'm just going to make this softer edge. The paper has a divot there, so it's picking up more of the graphite. Okay. So is this side. This is not so hard. It goes from dark to light too quickly. Okay, and same's here. Okay. The other thing I noticed that his face is not all one color. There's some just skin markings. Just put a few of those in. It's a little bit darker. So I'm looking for areas that I should darken up, and I'll use the same thing for the lighten up. It's kind of sort of one of our final passes here. I'm going to put some faint dots in there just to make it more look like skin. Just more. Oh yeah, there's a line there. Probably a little bit too thick, but that's okay. Okay, I'll look for the lights and light them up with the eraser. So I darkened up his hair as well, a little bit here and there. So I'm going to use our eraser at the very end. This is the highlight. His eye. There's one here. And I'm going to lighten up the bottom of his part of his iris, make it a little bit more white. This guy, I'm just going to do this side. This guy's going to shade more. Okay. And the other highlight, well, there was a center part here that's a little highlight, so I'm just going to highlight that a little bit here. Just make it completely white. Okay, just like that. And this area here is for his nose. It doesn't go all of a sudden white. It's more of a transition. So let's make the white part a little bit bigger. And it goes all the way up to the bridge of his nose. That. And then I'm going to soften up this edge just slightly. And kind of gets fatter here. Let's going to soften that up. This area is already white. There we go. Just kind of more of a ball at the end. Sometimes I like to take a very strong, just do a little bit of the outline, some of the features like his nose there, and you don't. It's not in the diagram. I mean, just here and there, just to give it some highlights. That goes down all the way down there. It goes like that. Okay, just touch up the edges. This is where I get this most stick here. Okay, I think that's good enough. So now you have to sign it somewhere. I think I might put the reference picture here when I post it, so I'm going to put my name over here. I like to put my first letter, my last name, and the date, just the year. Okay, and I guess we can get rid of this. And so it's up to you how you want to shade the background. Sometimes I like to fan out like this, and this. Remember, the light's coming from this side, so whatever you do, this side has to be a bit darker. I could do that with the paper towel. There's one I can do is pre-charge it with some graphite. This is completely white. There we go. Okay. Did you make a portrait or did you make a portrait victim? I'd love to see them. And if you're going to post, please hashtag Grant's Art Course Reviews and portrait or portrait victim. I have it on the slide there and down in the description. Please like and subscribe, and thanks very much. Next one will probably be a woman looking not straight. So we'll have to find a good image. Thanks. Bye.